Hello, everyone, and welcome to Listeners Beware, a podcast about all things Goosebumps. My name is Gary,
And I'm Ashley.
and today we are talking about book number 31.
Night of the Living Dummy 2.
Boy, is it.
Boy, is it. So this one was originally released in May of 1995 and clocking in at about 120 pages. So not the shortest, but also not the longest. Is that what she said? I
It
don't
is.
know. Gary, do you want to give us the synopsis of this book?
I sure do. You can't teach an old dummy new tricks. Amy's ventriloquist dummy Dennis keeps losing his head. For real. So Amy begs her family for a new dummy. That's when her dad finds Slappy in a local pawn shop. Slappy's kind of ugly, but Amy's having fun practicing her new routine. Then terrible things start happening. Horrible, nasty things. Just like what happened the first time. Because there's something odd about Slappy. Something not quite right. Something evil.
Ooh. Well, there you go.
Yep,
We have another female protagonist, Amy, at the wonderful reoccurring age of 12, I believe.
I think so.
And we have a trio here. She has an older sister, Sarah, and a younger brother, Jed. I know what it's like to be a middle child. So, reading this book, I definitely felt her pain. I'm like, yes, Amy, I get it.
Also a middle child, so what sort of long story, but more or less, yes. So I also understand.
You're middle child adjacent?
Yeah, I'm in the neighborhood next to it.
Sure. Yeah, no, I mean, it's one of those things where you definitely get a quick setup of their family dynamic, which I like. It didn't draw out too long, and we are given a preview into how their family dynamic is established through their family talent show night that they have every week, which I actually think is kind of cute.
Yeah, it is. I kind of wish my family had done that.
We used to do, fun little fact, we used to do family karaoke night.
Oh,
And yeah, it was really fun. Once a week, we would get together, just our, immediate family, and we would perform lip sync though. So I don't know if it's karaoke night or lip sync night, but
yeah.
we would perform to songs of our choice. And it would become like a whole thing. You could dress up, you could change for your different songs, and it was a really good time. I had
That's
a
cool.
blast.
It's like lip
Yeah.
sync battle before that was a thing.
Yeah, exactly. And, you're getting to bond with your family and laugh together, and nobody took themselves too seriously. It's not like anyone's trying to win a contest, just all sharing your music and expressing yourself. So it was a really good time.
Yeah.
So I loved it, actually felt a little nostalgic reading that they were doing family talent show because it reminded me of my childhood.
Well, that's great. I'm glad that this book connected with you, on a personal level in that way.
Yeah, it was fun. And for them, they each had their own little talent that they're showcasing, and we're able to glimpse into the different personalities. So her sister Sarah is a really talented artist, also seems to be like, I don't want to say overachiever, but a high achiever, because I
Hmm.
think they reference like her grades and she keeps calling her like a little Miss Perfect.
Yeah.
But Sarah doesn't seem mean. She just seems to be really accomplished.
Right. Yeah. And maybe with that comes a little bit of an ego, but
Mhm.
not necessarily a mean one, just a perhaps perfectionism, perhaps I don't know exactly, but she's like a mild antagonist, but not in a bad way.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'd call her an antagonist
I know.
because I mean, she does have an ego, but I don't really know if it's an ego. She's just confident. She
Mm,
knows her skills. And I feel like, because I thought the same thing when I first started reading is, oh my gosh, here we go. She's so, self centered. And it's like, hold on.
yeah.
Is she? Or is she just proud of what she does because she works so hard for it? She's got her art studio set up in her room. She's working on new paintings every week, and she seems to really take her craft seriously. So it's like maybe it's just appropriate confidence for what she's worked really hard to build.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, when I said antagonist, I was like, I don't like that word, but I don't know what the word in between antagonist and protagonist is.
Or she just is. She's just a guest.
Yeah. Sarah exists, man. Sarah
Yeah, I think
is.
out of all 3 kids, Jed's probably the most antagonist adjacent sibling because he really seems to pull pranks and make fun, and he's just not a nice kid. I mean, he laughs at her when the dummy's head falls off, and I don't know, he just doesn't seem like a very nice fellow. He's, like, evolving into the bully we read about.
Yeah. We will see him again in an R.L. Stine book.
Right, once he's 12.
Yeah, exactly. He's still young, still figuring out the ways of being evil. But I did sort of like how this book did set Sarah up to sort of be a foil, but by the end of it, we find out not so much. And maybe that's just my being used to the rhythm of RL, but I kind of thought like, oh, this is going to go a certain way, and then it didn't, and I was happy about that.
Yeah, I think we've just become accustomed to RL's formula that
Yeah.
one of the siblings is going to be a bully or an antagonist or just not someone that is relied on by our protagonist. But it feels like in this book, although Jed tends to be slightly antagonistic in moments, overall, they all 3 kind of, there for each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
And that's when the books shine the most, I think, is whenever the siblings do kind of come past their differences and, form a union.
I agree. I feel like this book is also probably the most realistic we've had when it comes to introducing occult topics. Not in terms of like, this is how the occult works, but
Right.
in terms of when something fantastical occurs versus blowing it off, the parents are like, I think we need to get her help. They take her seriously that she believes the dummy is doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Slappy comes to life after she reads the dummy's card that's in his pocket, which we were introduced to in the first one, and he automatically picks on Sarah, right? He's destroying her paintings, going into her room night after night to destroy her paintings and paint on her. I think he paints all over her walls too, doesn't he?
Yeah. He writes Amy's name all over her wall.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny that Slappy is intentionally disturbing Sarah and not messing with Jed. And I don't know if it's because it's easier to make the mess more visible and blame it on Amy because of the paint and the art supplies and, more accessible for his tiny body than Jed, where, if he messed up Jed's room and broke Jed's toys, it'd be a little harder. They'd be like, it's just you, Jed, and you're pulling a prank. I don't know. It was interesting. He did seem to consistently go back to Sarah each time.
Yeah, that was a little unclear for me, but I also wondered if maybe it was because Slappy had observed and realized that Jed would most likely be blamed as opposed to, you know, um, Amy or him. So like that prolonged his reign of terror. I don't know how smart Slappy is because when we last saw him, he wasn't necessarily the antagonist. So this is his first time as pure evil, I guess.
Yeah, I do like though that even as he is making it more and more apparent that it's Amy, or at least making it seem that way, the parents are involved because in the other books, parents are not present or they're like, yeah, whatever, and blow the kids off. And that's where it's left. And they kind of have to figure it out themselves. And in this one, you've got the parents actually pretty involved to the point where they're having family conversations with her and they're going to get a therapist and they want to get her help and they're genuinely concerned, right? We see parental concern and care that we don't tend to see in the other ones.
It's true, and it's really welcome. Like this is back to back stories with actual like decent family connections, and
Mhm.
I hope this is an upward trend because God knows we needed it after about 5 books in a row. But I like this.
It makes me kind of wonder if having been this far along into the series, we're at book what, 31, if RL did get some feedback saying, "Hey, I get it. You want these kids to be on their adventure and solve a lot of these issues on their own and kind of not have adult safe figures as much. However, we also don't maybe want it to look like completely negligent parents and bad family dynamics in every single book. I don't know.
It makes sense. I mean, Scholastic would have the ultimate say in this. So if maybe they received complaints from parents, and they were going to inevitably because it's a horror book for children. So I would like to know like what Scholastic went through with the process, like how they handled all the feedback that they received. And we are far enough along in now that it's pretty clear how this series ebbs and flows. And I've noticed a switch, and you have too, I think. So it's like something happened.
No, there was definitely a noticeable switch about 5 books ago or so because we don't have as extreme bullying. We have a little bit more solid family dynamics between siblings. And even if they don't get along and they fight and bicker, it's not as extreme, right? Like, it's
Right.
not where you want the sibling to disappear into the mirror land because they're just completely awful. And this just feels more realistic, which I think you need. You need a little bit of that balance when you have such strong elements of supernatural and like the idea of the fantastical. You
Hmm.
do need a little bit of that counterbalance. Otherwise, it's just not as palatable, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I think comparing this to the original Night of the Living Dummy, the kid gloves were definitely on more because that original book was pretty intense and violent and all the things you don't want in a kid's book. I mean, maybe we
I mean,
do,
this
but
one's pretty violent, Gary. I actually enjoyed, I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed the fight that she has with Slappy.
yeah.
But I was a little surprised that he straight up punches her in the nose. I'm like, "Wow, this is," and the pain that it describes, and she, like, hits her head, and
Yeah.
it's like, "Wow, this is a full-on brawl," and she's being brutalized by a wooden dummy. Like, that's not it's not like a doll, right? Like
Yeah.
Chucky, where you've got a fleshy thing you're fighting with that doesn't weigh much. You've got a wooden blunt object
Hmm.
whacking you in the face. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, that's pretty brutal, but I was kinda there for it. Not
Right.
because I want, a 12-year-old beat up, but just this idea that it did add to the terror and the
Right.
horror that is a little hard when you're talking about, like, a dummy or a doll or something small, like, okay, we're supposed to be scared of that, and it's like, "Holy shit, this thing is really actually messing her up."
Yeah. Yeah. Because historically, you're not a huge fan of the childhood monster creature come to life.
Yeah, I don't dolls don't do it for me. They don't scare me,
Mm.
dolls, whether it be possessed dolls, demonic dolls, angry dummy dolls, like, I don't know, it's hard for me to take that kind of stuff seriously, especially because when we are presented with that stuff, it's usually just it's not executed in a way that builds that terror, but when you have it in a book and you have a 12-year-old girl fighting with this dummy and she's explaining that it is stronger than it should be and she's describing how much it does hurt to be hit with a wooden fist. It's
Yeah.
like, "Oh man, like this is actually a force that could be something that you have to be reckoned with versus just kick it."
Right. Exactly. And I remember in the first book, like when the dummy straight up choked her, like that stood out. I mean, it still stands
Yeah.
out 30, however many books later. It's like, wow, he goes for it with these dolls.
And I think it's because he can.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they seem to have backed off a bit with the people bullying because, as you recall, we did have some pretty violent bullies within the first 10 books,
Mhm.
and they seem to have eased up off of that. And I wonder, to your point, if Scholastic got some feedback on that. But when it comes through the avenue of a dummy or a doll, it's like, oh, I could probably get away with a little more
Right.
because it's not real, it's an object.
Yeah.
And it's an evil object.
Hmm. But I do love the attention that he puts into like that's his true imaginative spirit is the idea of how would it feel if a wooden dummy were to slap your dad across the face or punch you or do whatever, like that's getting into the nuts and bolts, and I like it.
Yeah, I do too. And I like that we see Slappy already coming into himself early on in the book. We don't have to wait for it as much.
Right.
It's not a slow burn build. I mean, you still get little glimpses that ultimately build up to the climax, but we get it early on. To your point, she reads the note, Slappy slaps her dad, and they find a moldy sandwich in his head, which I don't know why there's a moldy sandwich in his head, but
Right.
apparently that needed to be in there.
Yeah, there were a couple loose threads in this that made me go, and that was one of them.
Yeah. Just wondering why. Why would someone put a moldy sandwich in Slappy's head? And I get they needed the effect of, ew, there's a dummy's brain in there, already establishing this thing is potentially realistic and lifelike, but also the second guess of like, oh, that's not what it is.
Right.
It early on establishes the self doubt. However, I'm like, a moldy sandwich? We couldn't have gone with something else, like maybe a worm's nest or something because he had been so old.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That would be gross and thrilling. Moldy sandwich was just
Right?
like, ugh, I don't like I don't like
Like,
this
you know where
visual.
would be a really good place to put my sandwich? In this dummy's head.
The previous owner was just saving it for later and died.
Yeah, apparently. Uh, I guess there are all sorts of unique lunchboxes out there, so I wonder if there was one at some point. Like Slappy's head was the lunchbox and thermos you could take to school.
Oh, that would be great. With all the merchandise that exists, I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm just saying the opportunity was right there in their face.
And if
So,
not, it's not too late. Scholastic, if you're listening, and we know you are, then
Slappy head lunchbox.
yeah, exactly. I'd buy
I would.
it.
But I wouldn't put a multi sandwich in there.
No.
And I do like how the story builds in terms of her interacting with Slappy. It's not immediate, right? She's really I don't know. There's so many ways this book is realistic that I enjoyed that it doesn't take a lot of pages to put that into play. For example, Amy working with the dummy. We get a few scenes where they talk about her practicing every night with him because she wants to start doing the birthday parties and really wants to get good at this talent. Like she genuinely enjoys being a ventriloquist
Mhm.
and learning to be. So it's like, okay, that's cool. We see her actually showing some discipline in something she cares about, which I think is a nice juxtaposition. She really cares about ventriloquism. Is that a word? She really cares about learning to be a ventriloquist, and yet the one thing she cares about ends up being the thing that totally just annihilates her, which isn't that how life goes, right? Like some of the things we work the hardest for just like rips us apart.
Yeah, yeah. This is another one of R.L. Stine's fucked up parables.
Right? It's just like, man, how bad do you want it? And just know it's gonna hurt to get there if you want to get good at it.
Yeah.
But she actually is pretty decent. Even with her own jokes, she's able to make her family laugh. And I think if Slappy hadn't been this possessed dummy and given had she been given a solid dummy, she probably could do really well
Yeah.
at birthday parties and become a solid ventriloquist artist.
Yeah.
But so it goes.
Yep. Yep. Sometimes our passions take us out.
Apparently, and they knock you out. They punch
Yeah.
you in the face.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I like that though. That was a nice touch. Like so often we see kids who are disinterested or whatever, but it was great seeing her passion for this thing.
Yeah, she genuinely enjoys it. I mean, even when we're first brought into the story, she's already on her journey to becoming a ventriloquist and she's got Dennis. And really, they already established that she enjoys this and is really trying to get better at her craft because
Hmm.
Sarah is a visual artist and this is her chosen craft of being a ventriloquist. And it's not standard, but it's something she enjoys. And I like that. I like he chose a hobby that isn't standard and really showed that she is passionate about it. And like you said, not aloof, like I'm just switching different interests. She really wants this.
Yeah.
And also kind of makes it heartbreaking then that she goes through this because you know she's never going to touch another dummy after experiencing this with Slappy.
Nope.
You hope she does, but you doubt it.
Yeah. Time for a new passion project.
Just, this goes back to horror movies, though. We talk about this in general when it comes to horror movies. And we mentioned this in the first Night of the Living Dummy. Don't read cards in other languages that you don't understand. And that's just a rule, man. Like
Yeah.
Evil Dead.
Hmm.
There's so many movies where people read things in another language they don't get. They're like, I don't know what this is. Let me just phonetically pronounce it out and see what happens. It never goes well.
Nope.
When has anyone ever been like, I picked this up and read this Latin and I'm a millionaire?
Yep.
It just doesn't happen.
It does not. I mean, those are the things that stick with me, right? Like I bought a handful of VHS tapes from the thrift store the other day, and I'm like, do I play these or am I going to, unleash hell on earth?
You might, but
I
it might be worth the risk. I don't know.
I might get some good 90s commercials out of it.
Just hit pause. If you hear another language, hit pause.
Yeah.
You're done. Just take it out. But I mean, she goes for it. She reads it and she reads the phrase, is it 3 times in a row?
I think so.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Either way, she does what she shouldn't do. And it's like, really? Come on, girl. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And of course, the dummy immediately slaps her father.
And I like she thinks that after she reads the phrase, which I believe she only reads it once in this book, but I feel like it was repeated in the first book. But I don't recall. I like that once she does that, she thinks she sees the dummy blink. And then her
Mhm.
father, like Mr. Logic over there, is like, oh, it's probably just got a blinking feature, which is a thing that
I'd
dummies
be
have.
logical too, okay?
I know. I realize I said that condescendingly, but I'm like, no, I'm totally with him on this.
Slappy's up to mischief. He's painting rooms and he gets aggressively more intense and intensely more aggressive. Sure, flip it, reverse
Why not both?
it. Right? And he is obsessed with making her his slave.
Hmm.
I noticed that in this one, he kept repeating that, "You're gonna be my slave, you're my slave." And it's like, but what does that entail? What does that even mean? He kept saying that. And at some point, I feel like Amy should just pause and be like, what does that look like to you? As a dummy, what does that mean? Does that mean you want me to carry you around? You want me to find you a body? Like, what is that? Can you
Yeah.
define that for
I mean,
me?
kind of by default, we're slaves to puppets, right? Like if that's our passion, then we are. Well, also like we're slaves to our passion sometimes. So maybe there's a deeper metaphor here.
Maybe. Look at you adding layers that probably aren't there. No, I'm just kidding.
Most likely aren't, but
No, I like it. Put the depth in there.
yeah.
It's just interesting because he doesn't need her to move around. It's not like he needs to eat or drink or anything like that
Mm-mm.
because he's purely capable of, I mean, clearly he is capable. She throws him down a drain, like a storm drain, and he ends up right back at her house. So it's not like he needs her to be mobile.
Right.
So, what exactly is he needing from her then?
Yeah. That's another one of those loose threads I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I don't get it. And I understand that by reading the card, she's now bound to him in some way that we don't understand, some metaphysical way. And he's like, and that makes you my slave. But clearly it doesn't because she keeps throwing him away. So it
Right.
does nothing to actually change her behavior in any way.
Yeah.
It's not like she's this mindless dummy herself, right? It's like she still has agency and beats him up
Yeah.
and knocks him around. So I don't know. I feel like that's a very big plot hole.
Yeah. Just a little bit. But this is kind of 2 books back to back where the antagonist, both Slappy and the Gruul in the previous one, need the human as its slave, although the stakes are much higher with the Gruul, I think. I mean, because if you got rid of the Gruul, you die.
Yeah, but with that one, at least it's the slave serves a purpose,
Right.
right? Because through their negative energy, it's absorbing it, and that's what keeps it stronger and alive.
Mm-hmm.
It feeds off of the bad luck of its bound slave. But with this one, I don't understand what Slappy's getting out of it because it's not like he gets stronger the more she has bad luck.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have liked if they elaborated that on that a bit more, or if they created a stronger, this is how you're connected
Mm-hmm.
and this is the why.
Yeah.
I don't like when stories over explain, but I feel like this one could have had a bit more explanation.
Yeah, and I mean it's about 9 pages shorter than the longest of these books. So, it's they could have put a little more into it, but maybe he just didn't know. Like, he had a month
He's
to
like, I
write
like a
this.
dummy that comes to
Yeah.
life, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's the side of it that fascinates me, is that he had essentially 30 days to write this book. And I mean, assuming that he did month to month, which seems to be the case, it's still pretty impressive with what he gave us.
Oh, no, I agree, and this one's super descriptive, and I
Mhm.
feel like this one was visually a better book when it came to the descriptions and the words. It didn't feel too descriptive or too wordy, but it definitely brought the world to
Right.
life for you as a reader, and I enjoyed that, like the birthday party at the restaurant scene.
Yeah.
That was great,
Hmm.
and we have these moments that it could get boring, right? You've got a dummy as your evil thing, so it could fall flat or it could come to life. And I do feel RL did a really good job when it came to constructing the world and creating something that you really could visualize.
Yeah.
He used a lot of color, which I think is interesting because he has a character that is an artist. And in this case, he did use a lot of descriptors that included color.
Hmm.
So I liked that.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, I think he forgot to put in this what the connection is. Because we already established the card brings them to life. So when she pulls the card out of his pocket, we're like, I know what that
Yep.
is. But I don't feel he added on to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't remember if anything was stated about that in the first book. I don't think it was. Um, so yeah, that's a little bit of a swing and a miss. But there's still like 8 more of these books, so it could be fleshed out later.
We understand the stakes are somehow there because you're bound to him, but bound how? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, at this point he should essentially have free reign for all terror. Because yeah, like you said, he can find his own way back into the house whenever he's thrown down a drain. So that's some kind of power.
He can
He can
paint
paint.
and he can run around. I think, and he can beat up a 12-year-old. I don't see what he needs her for.
Right.
Like maybe he wants to travel.
Yeah.
I don't know. He needs her to get him on a plane.
And like the fact that his pranks are getting her into trouble, almost like he feeds off of her negative energy, but maybe RL couldn't do that 2 books back to back.
Fair.
Yeah.
He's like, man, those were too close together.
Yeah. Should have spaced this out a little bit.
Like you said, there are so many more books in the saga of the living dummy subgenre of Goosebumps. And so maybe he will give us more over time. But in this one, I don't feel he added anything to the universe of the dummy in terms of what rules
Yes.
are in place, what makes it work. We didn't learn anything new. I feel we just had Slappy in a new family dynamic.
Yep. I completely agree with that. Which is, I mean, just a little bit of a swing and a miss because it still works for the most part, but could have used a little more.
I agree. It was a fun story. I just would have liked to have learned a little more, especially since he was so adamant on emphasizing that she was his slave and she was bound to him by reading the card. It would have been nice to understand the why or the how a bit more,
Yeah.
just giving us more mechanics of the spell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But all the scenarios that RL put her through, all the different, settings and stuff, I thought they were pretty captivating and fun.
Absolutely. It was a good time.
Mhm.
And it wasn't all in her head. Other people experienced it. They just didn't realize what they were experiencing, like her dad being slapped or the little girl who he wouldn't let go of her hand and almost crushed her hand.
Yeah.
It's interesting though that like that absolutely traumatized her, and yet the restaurant was like, "No, come back. We want you to do another birthday." Like, what?
Right. We hate children here.
We do. We don't want them. So forget their birthday parties. Let's scare some more.
Right.
It was kind of funny. I do like that even though her sister doesn't necessarily believe Slappy is alive yet, she helps her go throw him down the storm drain. So you already start to see that even though the belief isn't necessarily there, the support
Right.
is still there with the family.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, presumably we don't know everything about their history, but this has to be pretty left field, right? Like her sister has to know something is off because she's never behaved this way before. So,
It almost reminds me of, I don't know, did you ever see The Silver Bullet with Corey Haim back in the 80s, the Wolf movie,
no,
Werewolf?
I missed that one.
Oh, you should watch it. It's so fun. Just good old-fashioned classic horror, and it's based around the werewolf. I'm not giving any spoilers away, so don't worry.
Right.
But I would definitely recommend it. I actually watch that every year for at least once during Halloween time.
Nice.
So, but similar to this, they have an Uncle Red who when they're telling him about the werewolf and like, "You gotta believe us, it's a werewolf." He doesn't believe them, but he still supports them.
Mm.
And he's like they're like, "Here's our silver necklaces. Will you get us a silver bullet made?" And he's like, "You guys are nuts, but okay." And everything Red does in the movie, even though up until the end, he does not believe in werewolves and he does not believe that there's a werewolf, he believes that they believe
Mm.
it. And so he supports them. And Amy and Sarah kind of reminded me of that when I was reading this book. Sarah's like, "You've lost your damn mind, but I'm here for you."
Right.
Because clearly you believe something is happening,
Yeah.
even if it's all in your head. Like you said, this is so out of character and this is so not you. Clearly, even if it's psychological, you believe
Right.
something's happening. And I really liked that her whole family could have turned against her and, kind of ostracized her and alienated her. And to an extent, they were a little afraid of her, but they still supported her and wanted to help her.
Yeah. Yeah. That was nice. And probably the shining point of this book is just to see a family come together and kick some dummy ass.
Right? I mean, even Jed, who doesn't necessarily he's oblivious to most of the stuff going on and genuinely believes Amy is up to stuff. He even becomes part of the plan at the
Mm-hmm.
end. He's like gonna dress up in Dennis's costume or something,
Yeah.
or he's gonna dress up as Dennis the dummy and help them. And the parents hide in the closet to see if maybe they can figure out what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
only for all of them to figure out, "Oh my god, the dummy's alive."
Right.
Like, they were all a part of it, which we don't get a lot of in Goosebumps, but they were all individually a part of it. Even if they believed it was all in Amy's head, they were still a part of it,
Right.
trying to figure out what is happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And is that the first time this has ever happened in a Goosebumps? I think it is, where the parents and everyone teamed up.
I think for a collective participation and genuine care of the individual being tormented, yeah, I think this might be the first instance that we saw something like this.
Right.
And I liked it. I genuinely cared about the family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Man, I want them all to get through this together, and I really want them to believe Amy. This is
Yeah.
terrible."
I know.
But what I do love is our surprise little twist at the end because RL always gives us a twist.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that, Gary?
That we think that Jed kills Slappy, but it's actually Dennis.
Yeah, we find out Jed fell asleep in his bed
Yep.
and he's like, "Oh, shoot, I forgot to do my part." And it's like, hold on, but we just saw Dennis bash Slappy's head
Mm-hmm.
open. And it's like, oh my gosh.
You had one job, Jed.
But Dennis came in to save the day.
Yeah. So presumably, whenever she read the thing, she activated both of them. So I guess maybe we'll find this out in future, but I guess it works on all dummies. I don't really know.
Which makes no sense to me.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't, because that would take away the cursed element of Slappy.
Yeah, and then it works on all dolls, one would presume. So you could go and oh my gosh, could you imagine going into one of those rooms that have nothing but like hundreds of porcelain dolls and just
No.
reading that card? Oh,
No.
that would be terrifying.
Oh, my mother-in-law had a room like that, and I was scared enough with them being inanimate. It's just unsettling, all these, porcelain dolls staring at you. If they suddenly started blinking and moving and I was a slave to all of them, nah, I'm good.
It's a good thing I'm not afraid of dolls. I used to have to sleep in a room occasionally when I would visit family
Yeah.
where like they collected all of these porcelain dolls and it was just like 60 plus dolls lining this room and I was the only one who was willing to sleep in there because that didn't freak me out, but
Right.
could you imagine just like all their eyes, because you know that it makes like that clicking sound,
Mm-hmm.
if all the eyes just started click 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 click. Ah, that would be
It would.
terrifying.
I kind of want to see it on film now.
Right, let's make it into a short film.
Yeah.
I do wonder, to your point, though, how that worked on Dennis, because the idea is that the entity that is stuck in Slappy, isn't it a sorcerer? Condu or con something?
I don't. I've read that somewhere. I don't know if they've actually gotten into that in the books yet. That might be a reveal for the next one.
Oops.
But I definitely read that whenever I was doing a little bit of a history dive on Slappy.
Yeah, he's Condu in the TV series. It might be where I'm pulling that out
That
of
could be it.
because I did watch the TV series, so that might be where I got it from. I'm like, I don't know where I got this knowledge from because it's in my head, but how it got there, I don't know.
Right.
But I think yeah, I that was introduced in the revamped TV series, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But that might be where it came from.
Yeah.
But yes, either way, we know it's a sorcerer's spell
Mhm.
that brings him to life. So
Yeah. So the idea that it affects all dummies, or does that, beg the question, has Dennis been alive all along and we just didn't know it until now? Sort of leaves, like, I love the cliffhanger and I know I'm overthinking it, but it does sort of make you go, wait a second, something doesn't add up here. The other loose thread for me is what's the deal with the worm that comes out of his head? Like, I don't get it.
it came out of the moldy sandwich.
I guess so. It's just a red herring. It has nothing to do with anything. But
No, I actually think that that was probably Slappy. It's a manifestation of the curse or the evil entity that was inside of Slappy.
mhm.
And so by it breaking the head open, it no longer has like a wooden body to possess. So now it's kind of like this gross slug thing that
Oh,
crawled out. And I don't know.
yeah, that makes sense.
That was my take on it.
That's a good take. I mean, it has to manifest itself somehow if it's not inside of the original body. I guess that would make sense if there was a worm inside of it. But, like, also, ew, she's been putting her hand in there with worms and slugs.
I almost wonder if the worm wasn't actually in there
Mm,
until it was separated from the doll. By the head being split open, it no longer has that wooden form
right.
to possess. So it almost like separates and manifests into this gross slimy thing.
That's interesting. Okay, I like that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's me just having watched way too many horror movies.
Right.
Well, I think the reason that I think of it that way is because I think of movies like The Conjuring and other possession movies where while they're possessed, it's just like them, right? They're in their human possession form.
Yeah.
And then when they purge the demonic entity, they like, sorry guys for listeners who this gets gross for, but when they purge the demonic entity, it's an actual purge. So they like throw up like black tar or black blood.
Yeah.
And so for me, when I read that, that's kind of how I saw it, as now that the dummy is no longer possessed, it's got to purge out
Hmm.
that evil entity somehow. So it's a worm.
Interesting. Yeah, I was Googling why is Slappy a worm and all sorts of shit. And I don't know, I'm probably on a list now.
You were on a list long before
No
that.
doubt. No doubt. But I like your takeaway from that. And that does track, especially with the horror roots and everything. So I'm curious to see how Slappy in his current form becomes Slappy again for Night of the Living Dummy 3. And I hope we get some sort of explanation, but I have a feeling we might not.
I think to your point, it's just going to be the curse of the card
Hmm.
that keeps being introduced to dummies. I think it could be any wooden dummy and not just that specific dummy.
Yeah.
I mean, point in case, look at Dennis.
Right.
Although that begs the question then, is every dummy that's being, what is the entity that's being brought about when that card is used? Because obviously Slappy is a specific entity.
Yeah. And actually, I'm thinking about it. I believe in the first one, the card brought Mr. Wood and Slappy to life. We just didn't know that Slappy was alive until the end. So maybe it does go bigger than a cursed object. Maybe it is something that does affect all dummies around it. But I don't know.
Makes you wonder though how it draws specific entities. Does it make new entities,
Mm,
or does it draw in surrounding spirits? And Slappy just happens to be one that responds to that curse,
interesting.
because Dennis wasn't inherently evil.
Right.
Like, not that we noticed. I don't know. We weren't given much other than he bashed Slappy open. Maybe he's possessive and territorial and just as evil. I don't know. But honestly, if he's been alive this entire time and Slappy has been raising hell and he did nothing until that moment, then it does kind of make you wonder.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, jig is up. They know he's alive. My turn.
He kept saying heads will roll, but unfortunately it was his.
He's like, I got to figure out how to keep my head on before I take this thing on. I don't know.
Yeah.
It does make you wonder, does it only draw in evil spirits? We didn't get much of Dennis
Mhm.
to know, but I am curious.
Right. Well, I mean, at the very least, this family's safe because if Dennis is evil, they know how to take care of it now. But I'm curious to see what family gets plagued by this Slappy curse in the future.
The next Slappy. I feel like Slappy is a specific entity
Mhm.
separate from the curse, and the curse maybe just draws Slappy in.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
I don't know. We will see in the future ones.
Absolutely.
All right. What do you think of the TV episode?
It was okay.
I like that.
It wasn't the worst by any means, but I also, it's funny to me that they actively called it Night of the Living Dummy 2 when there is no Night of the Living Dummy 1 TV episode. Just one of those little things. It's like, why not just call it Night of the Living Dummy or something else?
I have no idea. Maybe just so they know this is tied to the specific storyline of that book.
Right.
So people aren't trying to find other storylines. It's like, this is that book storyline.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. They changed a lot of stuff, and I assume
Minor
that was,
things.
just for time. The thing that I think hurts it is that the family wasn't involved at the end. It was more or less just her and the two sisters.
How very Frozen of them. We definitely had less of the family dynamic and support than the book, which I think was the strongest part of the book. So it's kind of sad that they pulled that out. However, the changes they made in settings, like not having the birthday party and instead having, Margot or Margaret or whatever the character's name was in the TV episode, her best friend, having Slappy hold her sister and kind of crush her hand instead, it still worked.
Mhm.
I think those, although big in terms of like scene changes, didn't disrupt the story. But to your point, them not having the family as involved, it was missed. It was a missed opportunity.
Yeah. Overall, it was fine. Like, it's very rare where I can say that a Goosebumps episode is fine. but I think this one was. There was some fun camera work in it, I thought, like both the elements from the puppet or the puppet perspective and just like the swing of the camera in certain tense moments. Like I actually noticed the production on this one, so that's usually a pretty good thing.
I'm with you actually, that when they pan around from her to Slappy's face when she's hugging Slappy, I was like, "Oh, that's a fun little camera shot."
Yeah, yeah. And there's a moment where I think it cuts to commercial or a scene change or whatever, but like there's a scene where Slappy's laughing and then it just sort of melts into like this industrial sounding drone and it's actually creepy. Yeah, it's like around the 10-minute and 51-second mark or something. To be fair, I didn't notice it whenever I was watching it, but I was reading the comments and someone called that out and I rewatched it and I was like, oh, damn, that is creepy. So,
It was a fun like, I'm glad they didn't do more than one.
yes.
I'm glad it was just one episode, 20 minutes, but definitely not my favorite episode of Goosebumps, but I think that it stayed fine. Like you said, it is fine.
Yeah.
Fine to the story, fine to the Goosebumps world.
Yeah.
And definitely wish they would have shown a bit more of the family dynamic and being supportive of one another. But you still had the sisters looking out for each other.
Yes. Which at the end is, I think, very important, especially for kids with siblings.
Well, and I think the part that they missed that I think would have been strong to leave in, even if they took the other family dynamic portion out, was what we got in the book when they both admitted to being jealous of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then they bonded through that moment of, wait, you're jealous of me? I'm jealous of you.
Yeah.
And that was a really powerful small moment in the book.
Right.
And I think is real to a lot of sibling relationships. And so I wish they had kind of kept that in, especially if they were going to just focus on Amy and Sarah in the TV episode. Like, leave that part in.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
They did try to make Dennis a little bit more ominous in the TV episode
They did. Yeah.
with his little line at the end. And I'm just like, oh, come on.
Yeah. But also the character design for Slappy in the TV show was weird. It's very different than the dummy we see on all the book covers. You know, like he's red haired and chunky faced.
Very round face.
Yeah.
He's a chunky.
Chunky faced.
Makes you wonder what he's eating.
Worms and moldy sandwiches.
Apparently, and moldy sandwiches.
Which was not in the episode, but
Explains the chunky face.
it does. Eating all that mold, bud, that'll get you.
Ew. I don't know. Maybe that's why he's so cranky. He's like, can someone just give me a fresh sandwich, please? I'd probably be a whole lot happier and more pleasant.
Yeah. All I'm asking is for a deli sandwich that's not covered in mold.
Why do you suppose RL wrote so many books within the living dummy subsection of Goosebumps versus some of the other IPs he could have ran with?
That's a great question. I mean, I think Night of the Living Dummy and Monster Blood probably have the most entries. And what's weird is I feel like Monster Blood is less consistent, even though it revolves around the same characters, as opposed to this one, which the only common thread is this curse. So I don't know. I think because he can reinvent the story as he pleases with each family. And Slappy did sort of become the unofficial Goosebumps mascot, even though I'm personally Team Curly over here. I don't know.
I guess out of all the ones we've read so far, Slappy is probably the only one capable of being a character with personality because Monster Blood just is a substance. But it would have been interesting to see him maybe run with like the haunted mask a bit more
I agree.
because you can transpose the personality of your protagonist and the mask and kind of have a constantly creating character that's new to each one, right? Because it's on a new face or a new whatever dog.
Yeah, right. For some reason, and I don't know why, I've never said this out loud, but I have always kind of seen Slappy as the Joker of this universe. And
I could see that.
yeah, and so like I think maybe that has something to do with it. RL needed his big bad, and Slappy serves that role well. But I don't know.
Not too scary, but something you can kind of carry as an icon throughout.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess he is the horror icon of Goosebumps because the haunted mask is just the mask. The monster blood is just a substance of goo. So it makes sense. Slappy is the only one that's actually an icon. And he does give him humor and quips in the same vein of, Freddy Krueger and other horror icons that are just a little funny, but not too funny.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if that's the actual solve, but I like what we got to.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Now, would you recommend the book to people, or would you say, you could skip this?
Yeah, I would recommend this one for sure. What about you?
Yeah. Yeah, I would recommend the book. I would say you can skip the TV episode if you have to pick one or the other. Go for the book.
Yeah.
It definitely has a better family dynamic, stronger character building. So definitely go for the book over the TV episode. But I feel like that's just something we say all the time.
There's only been once where I think we preferred the TV episode, but that means it could happen again. If it's happened once, it could happen twice. Just
absolutely
not this time.
So that brings us to the last part of the episode, which is the cover of Night of the Living Dummy 2. How do you like it?
You've seen it, right?
Yes.
You know me. You know I like it.
Because of the pink and the green.
And the pinks and the greens and the blues. Yeah. It's really weird because this is not one that I remember standing out to me when I was younger. But as an adult, like I see these colors and I'm just like, this is weird and wonderful and a little wacky.
And a little wacky. He's still walking. He's still stalking. I am actually not a fan of this cover.
Really?
Yeah. I feel this is similar to the thing under the sink, whatever that was called that came from beneath the sink.
Yeah.
I feel it's very similar where the colors are so bright and beautiful and fun that it overshadows Slappy. And I almost have to look for Slappy because I'm too busy looking at the flowers on the wall and the very bright pink bed and the teddy bear. I see the teddy bear before I see Slappy. He is so monotone and faded together in shadows that you don't see him almost. He's almost, for me, he's the last thing I see.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, that is a solid point. I to me, I sort of see the juxtaposition of it, like his drab colors versus the, bright colors of everything else. Two notes: the eyes on the dolls, not Slappy, but like, why? They're kind of freaky. And like the bear's mouth.
The bunny looks scared of Slappy.
I know. There are definitely things I don't like about this cover. And you raise a great point. But just for me, it's the color choices. Like even the Goosebumps logo and everything is very signature. And it could be signaturely bad, but it's Gary coded, so I like it.
It's Gary coded. This is one of those where I think it would have benefited, similar to the other cover I had kind of picked apart, where it could have benefited from just making Slappy bigger.
Right.
Still using the same colors, still having that same juxtaposition, but making him bigger. So then he's what you see first and everything else is subsequent to that. But in this case, because everything is so bright and beautiful, he is the afterthought of the juxtaposition. Because your eyes have to go to something first.
Right.
And when you hold that cover up, that is not where it goes.
You're right. You're exactly
at least not
right.
for me.
No, I mean, you are exactly right. I also noticed the weird angle of the bed. Like it almost seems to be tilting downward towards Slappy. Like the dude weighs a ton. But it is from the kid's, like eye line.
What kid is sleeping in a bed that big?
Yeah, that's true.
That you're looking up at your bed. You'd be 3.
That is true. Yeah. This is the kid from the Cuckoo
It's almost
Clock.
like a funhouse angle.
Yeah. That's true.
Because even the way the bed warps out, and like you look at the wallpaper design, it's warping.
Yeah.
And so it does feel a bit like a fun house, which again, it's all fun. Individually, the elements are great. I just think that Slappy, being that he is the icon of this, should have been bigger so that your eyes look at him first.
Yeah. And it's the polar opposite to the first book, where it's literally nothing but a close up of Slappy's face. So maybe that's what they were going for. But like, I mean, not to get too far ahead of our bracket, but like this won't be my favorite cover. I'm just going to say that. It's interesting and it stands out. So it's just weird to me that it does not stand out in my childhood memory.
And we do see Tim's signature on the bed frame. The footboard is right next to Slappy's arm.
There it is.
So this is a Jacobus signature. This is his cover. And I think, given what we know, he gets just a very small blurb to work with. He does a phenomenal job. These covers are great. It's just me nitpicking from a marketing perspective. But ultimately, what he puts together based on almost nothing each time is just phenomenal.
Yeah. I agree 100%.
I almost wonder too, if he had just not put the other dolls on the bed, that might have also been a stronger cover. Because I'm like visually just taking them out and just having Slappy against the pink probably would have worked too.
Yeah.
Worked better.
I think so. The dolls do serve as a weird distraction, and part of that is because he gave them human eyes, which most dolls don't have. Like they would be solid black eyes. And I think that hurts it a little bit.
Yeah.
But
still a pretty cover.
Yeah, if and when we see him again, or have him on the show, we'll have to ask him, like, what's with the doll's eyes, dude?
He's like, I just wanted them to be afraid of him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was having fun. It was a night. But overall, it was a good book. It was a solid book. I definitely recommend it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one. Not the next living dummy one, but just the next book.
Yeah, me too. And this is one of my childhood favorites. I haven't read it in 20 some odd years, but we'll see how it holds up. And that is book number 32, The Barking Ghost.
Who doesn't love a ghostly dog? So I'm excited for it, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be slightly shorter. It's 117 pages, so it should be a quick read for us. And yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I will actually be reading my childhood copy of this. It's one of the few that I still have from when I was a kid.
Oh, I love that. I want a picture. Send me a picture of it.
You got it.
Well, I'm looking forward to reading it and talking about your childhood favorite with you. I'll try not to rip it apart. I'm kidding.
Hey, I may be the one ripping it apart. We'll see. There are certain moments of nostalgia that are tied to it for me that have absolutely nothing to do with the book. I don't even really remember the book that well. It's just like I remember moments about it, and that's what I'm connected to. So rip it apart if you have to.
Honestly, I remembered almost nothing from Night of the Living Dummy 2, but I did remember the end with Dennis.
Yeah.
So the things we remember from these books, it's
wild.
fun, it's nostalgic, and it's why we're doing it.
100%.
All right. Thank you to everyone for tuning in to Listeners Beware. Are you looking for more spooky podcast content? Check out 3 Haunted Podcasts, where Ashley and friends talk about all things that go bump in the night.
And if you feel like getting retro, you could find more from me at the Wax Nostalgic Network, available on YouTube and wherever podcasts are available. Also, feel free to drop us a line via email at listenersbewarepodcast@gmail.com and follow our various social media channels by searching Listeners Beware.
Until next time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Listeners Beware, a podcast about all things goose...
See, you gotta turn that shit off.
Sorry. First time I've recorded one of these.
Ever.
Ever.